Hi, it's Ava. I thought today we might go and work on opening our hearts a little bit more. Sometimes, depending on what's going on in our lives, our hearts feel a little shut down. Perhaps we feel some tightness in our chest, or we're looking at someone that we love. Maybe it's our spouse, maybe it's our kids, maybe it's a really close friend, and we just know we don't quite feel this sort of love that we know we really feel for them. The feeling part is the important one, right? Because we, of course, love them, but that energy of love, however you want to define it, that particular thing isn't something that we're feeling in the moment. And so this happens quite a bit. It could be a situation of protracted grief, something that I know a lot about and have been going through recently. Not an easy sort of thing. Helps us sort of puts us in touch with some other emotions and sort of shuts off sometimes that heart piece, simply because our body really and our sort of energy can only get out so much emotion at one time, and so it's like we almost sort of shut down that piece of ourselves. It's kind of a protection point. Or, for example, we're in a difficult situation. Maybe we are in a tough marriage or a tough relationship. Maybe work sucks and we've raised our walls up because people have been, we feel, hurting us. Maybe we are under attack. Maybe we're constantly sort of being shamed or made fun of or ridiculed. That also shuts our hearts down. And so, whatever the reason is that your heart might be feeling shut down, I invite you to join me a little bit in a few heart openers. And so, what I'd like to do is mention a couple that you can do on your own, ones that I mention in my self-help spiritual series, The Goddess Guides. And the simplest way that I found to get in touch with your heart is to put your hand over it and leave it there. Just rest it there. Basically, the power of touch connects us with parts of ourselves, and that heart piece connects us with that heart energy. And the heart is, of course, where the energy of love resides energetically in the body, although, of course, we know that it can encompass all of us, and all, I mean, all that we are, basically. So that's one way. The other way, of course, when you're off with someone, for example, say you've had a fight or a tiff, or you just feel out of sorts with someone that you love, the best way is just to hug them and have them hug you and be in a long embrace. A friend of mine calls this a melting hug, and I think that's a yoga term. But for me, it's just a long hug in which you really share that heart energy, and usually that aligns your heart, because it's really interesting. A friend of mine told me this when she was in biology class in college. Her college professor showed them a video that when you put two tissues, heart tissues, basically together in a laboratory, they start to beat together in tandem. And I thought, well, isn't that interesting? Because, of course, that's what we know happens when we're with someone that we love. Our hearts actually start beating alike when we're in sync with each other. And it's just that energetic rhythms and flows that align with each other. Isn't nature cool? So, but today we're going to go and just do a simple little, you can call it a meditation, you can call it just a little calling in. It just depends on what your language is. It doesn't have to have any language, but we're just going to open our hearts and sort of free ourselves from some of the maybe blockages that we've got going on. So if you just stop what you're doing and take your hand and put it on your heart, take a couple deep breaths with me. I know I've been needing to do heart openers more frequently than I usually do, because this has been, like I said, this has been a really tough summer for me, and there's been a lot of grief and a lot of other emotions, but anchoring into that love that we are, that we know, that we trust in, that's the piece that continues to help us move forward with more grace. So just take another breath. What I like to do is I like to start opening basically all my sort of energy systems, and that's the chakra system, which starts at your crown. And so what I like to do is just imagine, if you want to imagine with me, this nice, beautiful white funnel. I like to have it be sparkly because it sort of works for me. But the crown is one of the colors is beautiful white, and so that sparkly white almost like it's sparkly moonlight or that beautiful sheen of snow that's so lovely. Just have that sort of start like coming through you. And just let it sort of like trail down from your crown to your third eye, which is the area through which we see with our inner self, our highest self, that clarity that comes. And then sort of let it come down through your throat. Take another deep breath. Usually we have a lot of things sort of stuck in our throat when our heart gets shut off because the mind starts to go, go, go. That ego mind that, gets us all worried, or all the stories start coming up. And usually that means that our throat sort of is blocked because our heart, and mind, our true mind, can't be in sync. So we're just going to clear sort of that piece out. Just take a deep breath with me. Just know that these things are going on, even though it doesn't seem like necessarily things are sort of going on. You can just trust that there's energy afoot that's beyond our rational minds. And so then we're just going to drop down into our heart, which you'll have your hand on. Maybe feel it beat for you. I like to think, or I like to feel my heartbeat, because then I know that I'm getting truly in touch with the energy of that heart. And then we're just going to trail it down through that maybe tightness in our solar plexus area, our diaphragm, center sort of us walking in the world. Maybe we feel pretty much punched in the gut right now for whatever reason. We're just going to ask it all sort of be cleared out as much as it can be. And then we're just going to move all the way down to the root of our being, the place where we receive life force, the place where we're connected to the earth and all of its great energy. And we're just going to take a deep breath and say, thanks. And just know that that feels a little bit better. Just a slight beginning. So now why don't you just close your eyes with me. And I want you to actually picture that heart of yours. If you want to picture it like a Valentine heart, that's fine. It can be red, it can be pink, it can be white. Maybe it's a little bruised, maybe it's gray. But whatever those pieces are in your heart that need to be released today, that you really want to be released today. Perhaps it is outright heartache. Maybe there are some chains or some binds around your heart. We're just going to ask that they be released, cleared out. Just take a deep breath. A lot of trust things here too, right? It's hard to sometimes trust our hearts when we've been hurt, when we've loved someone, for example, and things didn't quite work out as we expected, or maybe we thought a certain situation was going to go a certain way for us. And so trusting our hearts and really believing in our hearts, that sort of is an important piece to recover. So we're just going to ask that we can recover our trust in our hearts, in love itself. Take a deep breath. There's a lot of emotion here. And all those of you who have been feeling so numb, maybe you're having some sadness come to the fore. That's okay. That's just the parts of your heart that we're holding on to, that sort of like squeezing out a dish rag. And so just let those tears fall. If you're getting a little angry, you could feel a few people getting angry. That's okay too. Just know that's what you need to release, because maybe you did give this person everything, or you gave this situation everything, or you've been giving it everything, and they just didn't appreciate it. They just didn't go and listen. They didn't appreciate you. I gotta say that again. All right, so all the places we just don't feel appreciated, we're just gonna transmute all of those and clear them out. Take a deep breath. And everywhere we don't feel loved ourselves by those around us, let a few people's faces come to mind. When we start looking for love from other people, of course, like we're in a relationship, and so having love be between us is part of being in a relationship. But when we start looking for that love outside of ourselves, and we don't find it, that can really shut us down. And so let's just go and say all those who we need to release right now. We're just going to release them, bless them. They can be on their path. We can be on our path. Maybe there's some things that we still need to forgive. That's okay. You'll know if that's like for the moment. Just let that heart sort of like continue to sort of shine brighter. Feel it expand a little bit more. You can feel that tightness in the chest of like not really wanting to like release it, because that means that you'll have to feel some of the things that don't feel so good in there, and that's okay too. We'll just allow it to be easy, allow it to unfold, let all that stuff out with a lot of grace. Take a deep breath. And then all the places that we don't really love ourselves. Sometimes when situations happen to us, we start to blame ourselves, especially if we've been programmed to feel like things are our fault. Maybe we're even told that by someone. We're told that we're wrong. Like, you were told you were wrong. It was your fault. Like, this is what you did. Whatever those sort of shame, sort of laced accusations are, we're just going to go and ask that they be cleared. Take a deep breath. And like I sort of am normally called to do, if you're willing to repeat after me. It's a very simple phrase. I forgive myself for believing that I'm wrong. Take a deep breath. There's a lot of power in that phrase. Let's say it again. I forgive myself for believing that I'm wrong, or that I did something wrong. Oh, that's causing a lot to move. That's good. Feel some stuff moving in your throat, in your stomachs, in your heart. Deep breath. Because the truth is, there are some things that happen, and we have to own our sort of part of it, and hopefully the other person can own their part, or the situation just sort of unfolded as it did. But the more that we can go and release ourselves from feeling that we were wrong, or that we did something wrong, let go of all that shame. Shame is such a opposite of love. The feeling of wrongness, the feeling of you're nothing, that you're always bad, that makes us feel very, very unlovable. I know I was raised that way, so felt like I lived so much of my early years feeling like I was wrong and that I was bad, and that it didn't matter what I did or how good I tried to be. I was always faced with sort of that accusation. And so let's just allow sort of that peace that's sort of locked inside of us to go be free. Just send it off, almost like you're sending off a bird, or maybe a paper airplane, whatever works for you. Just take a deep breath. The one thing about consciously working with releasing emotions is that you're going to see them the way that you're supposed to see them. All of our minds have been kind of wired to see things that way. So you might see a bird, you might see a paper airplane, you might see a balloon. Just let whatever comes, and just know that's not wrong either. It's just helping you sort of visualize energy in a tangible way in which you can go and say, hey, okay, that's gone. Great. I'm so glad. And then, of course, when you don't need it anymore, it won't be necessary for you to see it that way. All right. So you have your hand still on your heart? How are you feeling? Let's just check in again. Maybe a little vulnerable, huh? Opening our hearts is a really powerful act, especially when we've been hurt. And especially when we feel hurt, or we don't feel particularly loved or supported, or maybe even that lovable. Maybe we've been judging ourselves for certain acts. Maybe we've been choosing to sort of do the same thing over and over again, and the results always are the same, but we just haven't been able to find a way to make a change and start afresh. Well, we can do that now. So Why don't you just say what I say very often, because I found it's one of the most powerful phrases that I can do for myself when I'm especially feeling like I do, like this. You just say, I love and I accept myself. I love and accept myself. That's all. It's one of my most powerful mantras when I'm lying in bed at night sometimes and I can't quite sleep because I've been hurt or upset, and those nights in which you sort of just stay awake a little bit. Just say, I love and accept myself. Have your hand on your heart and just keep saying it and just keep saying it, because the very act of those loving words changes your energy. And it might, like I said, depending on how numb or how hurt or how depressed you are, maybe even how angry, it might take a little bit to get into that sort of space. But trust me, when we put our intention and our focus on love, loving words, loving actions to ourselves, we make space for it, that love is going to filter in. And maybe there's some things that need to go out. Maybe you need to cry for a little bit. Maybe you need to rage a little bit, stomp your feet a little bit. Just allow whatever it is that you need to do when you sort of finish watching this video, because that's what your higher self is saying, what I call your goddess sort of self, or your God self, if you're a guy. That self is the one that sort of helps you know what your true north is, what your true center is. And that true north and true center is love. And so just ask all the things that you're not seeing that'll help you feel loved. Allow whatever that is to filter to your mind. Maybe even if you're a journaler, maybe get off the video and journal and say, just ask that higher part of you, like what is it that you're not seeing that'll help you feel more loved? Or what do you need to let go of to feel more loved in your life, to feel more loved in yourself? Those are always great things to ask. Sometimes they're a very similar thread. Perhaps it's not feeling wrong, for example, or not feeling a certain way, or having people talk to you a certain way. Or it could be that it's sort of a situational thing. Maybe it's that you need to leave a certain situation or say goodbye to a person that has been, you've had a lot of push-pulls and a lot of hurt with. Whatever those are, just listen to them and know that you can trust it, because you can trust that beautiful, brave heart of yours that loves, because you were made from love. You are love. And if you're watching this video, that's what you want in your life. So we just affirm we are love and joy. I am love and joy, and so are you. And I thank you so much for taking the time to open your heart with me. I bless you, as always. And if you like this, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Maybe even comment and sort of let me know how you felt about this afterwards. I'm always really interested to hear. And it helps me sort of be able to go and create some new videos that are more specific to some of the things that you guys want and need. Because of course this is very much a community effort, and I really like it for everyone to feel supported by all the wonderful things that I want to do in the world. Thanks again, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Ava signing out.